actual initial JL. I'm just gonna call him Power Ranger friend, because sophomore year, the year we met, we would go to our respective houses after school and watch the Power Rangers, the original Power Rangers, and then call each other at night and be like, what did we watch? So we'll call him Power Ranger friend.
Been through the pages of my old journals, with every turn another memory.
Hello, and welcome to Journaling Through the Years, episode 94. I am Leah Liz, and this is a series on my channel, on this particular channel, wherein I read from my journals that I've been writing in since I was old enough to hold a pencil, because when I was really little, they didn't trust me with a pen. Or rather, they don't really trust young kids with pencils, or with pens anyways, because they're kids and they're just learning to write. They're going to make lots of mistakes in spelling and all that. So, before we get started, just go ahead and, subscribe, like, comment, share, and remember to check out the bonfire merch. They're in the description below. The fundraisers for the Trevor Project and NAMI Southern Oregon. So let's get started. Why not? Let's jump right into it. I'm really loving my hair right now, and the makeup. I kind of feel like I finally figured out how to do my makeup. I've been really into kind of a new skincare routine for aging, and I think it's really working. Okay, so this is back at camp, or about camp. So I am junior year of high school, missing camp, so fall term, and I was coming back into the world of my high school and dealing with the fallout from the breakup and my breakdown, first breakdown, suicidal, all that kind of things, or unaliving, and dealing with my so-called best friend, still I think at this point dating Princess Bride boyfriend, and having no real conscience about it, thinking I was at fault for some reason because I didn't accept her with open arms. So, iced coffee. Let's get started. So I'm writing about camp because I feel lonely. I think I feel lonely in my new world. I don't have the friends that I thought that I had the previous year, because I don't really want to hang out with my so-called best friend. So I'm not sure who to sit with at lunch or who to be around, and I hung out with my favorite high school teacher. He was history and critical thinking and all that, and hung out with him in his Fernando Nugent was his name, and I hung out in his classroom at lunch and I guess recess break. And what's funny is he probably was like, oh my god, do I have to be in here with these kids? He just wanted a break. Okay, it began. Now we were free from daily life to a vast world with an array of possibilities. The days were challenging and kept us occupied, working hand in hand. Like we were just walking around hand in hand. We couldn't let go of each other's hands. Just kidding. For the well-being of the children. Troubles rarely filled us. Decisions had to be made. What decisions? They had to be made, though, whatever they were. We had to be in charge, yet we were free to recreate ourselves, to experiment, to love, to learn. We dared ourselves to the utmost of limits, did things we've never done before. Then, in a flash, it was over. We boarded the bus together, and as soon as we reached our destination, went our separate ways, promising to meet again in the off-season. So we left and returned to reality, the reality of our lives before. But as we left, we realized that coming home was the greatest challenge of all. Okay, so I am using we, and I can't really necessarily speak for my camp friends in this setting, but I think it's interesting that's like, by saying we in the majority of camp friends, it's depersonalizing my experience and making it out there and not in here. The greatest challenge of all. I had the privilege for 3 months of being able to not see my so-called best friend and deal with all of that, and then I had to come into it and deal with it, and also maybe a little bit of seeing another friend, the actual initial JL. I'm just gonna call him Power Ranger friend, because sophomore year, the year we met, we would go to our respective houses after school and watch the Power Rangers, the original Power Rangers, and then call each other at night and be like, what did we watch? So we'll call him Power Ranger friend. But he was somebody that I had called when I was considering unaliving myself, and he had called me back and said, don't do it. And then, so I was going to see him again, and so maybe there was a little bit of an embarrassment because of that. I hadn't seen him. And so instead of saying I could have literally said, it began. Now I was free from daily life to a vast world with an array of possibilities. The days were challenging and kept me occupied. But I'm saying we, or us. I'm making it out there and not in here, because it was easier to see if it's out there collectively, away from just the internal me. As if you remember, at this time, and only until recent times, have I been able to really do a lot of really self-analysis, critical, kind of the hard work of looking within at myself, and then releasing and healing. And so at this point, I wasn't able to do it, so I used the we. And also, I'm writing this not as a journal entry, I'm writing it in a sense, sort of a prose. So if it was so that's another layer, I think, of me kind of putting it out there instead of internalizing it within. And I'm writing it down in prose. I'm using the we for collectively all my camp friends, but I can't speak to their experience, because maybe they're really excited about school, or maybe they didn't have the issues that I mean, they obviously didn't have the issues I had, but maybe they didn't have a lot of the same stresses. And a lot of times in my life, if I have something that if something is stressful for me or trying, I want to avoid it and not look at it at all. And then when I have to, because eventually you're going to have to run into someone or deal with something that you don't want to have to deal with, when that happens, it's really hard and scary for me. So, I also want to point out the beauty of a YMCA, or maybe, for this was, my camp was YMCA, but maybe Boys and Girls Club, or any kind of camp that challenges a teenager, a young person, to get out of their comfort zone and care for another, is a pretty cool thing. Working hand in hand. I mean, we didn't really work hand in hand, like walking around hand in hand everywhere. Well, we did do that at times, but I mean, we're not like working la 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 la. But for the well-being of the children. So I think, coming from a time where I was depressed and then having to focus on someone else, probably really, and being around, helped me. I know that in the times when I've been depressed, the acts of service has helped me get out of my head and care for another. And then I can come back to the situation or something that caused me that depression and have a refreshed mindset. Troubles rarely filled us. Decisions had to be made. We had to be in charge, yet we were free to recreate ourselves. So yeah, there was this element that obviously when we were high schoolers, there were people in their 20s and that were legal adults that had more of the responsibility, but there was a challenge, which is really an inspiring, wonderful thing for a teenager, but anyone in general, just to I think there's growth in trying something new and challenging yourself. And I think I've talked about this in previous episodes, this idea of getting out of your comfort zone or getting out of the norm. And this idea that, you know, I had my camp friends and then my high school friends. And then when I was in high school, I was like, I'm closer to my camp friends. I don't like these high school people. But I would say it's opposite now. Because the high school friends I saw day in and day out for like 12 years, 13 years, since preschool, a lot of them. And you really get to know someone, especially in a small school. It's like a family. And we may not have had that closeness now, but that connection is deep, and it's deeper. And so in high school, when you're growing up with someone, like growing up in a family, it's like this. You take it for granted, and you get annoyed by each other. Whereas camp, I only saw them once a summer, for 3 summers, for 2 weeks. Or then maybe a little bit during the year, like a weekend or a couple weekends or whatever. So it was always kind of a little removed, and in infatuation, in a sense. It wasn't all romantic, but in the sense of like, there's a freshness to it. And I could recreate myself. I could be something that I wasn't at school. I've had this experience, and we're filming a movie about it called One Day in the Spring, in April. And it's all about this encounter. My character runs into someone that she's never seen before, and they end up having this whole day together, all these experiences. And that's it. That's it. And who knows if they will ever see each other or not, but they will. Who knows? But the point is like this idea of sometimes the perfect strangers, or the people we hardly ever see, we can open up with and be closer to in those brief moments, than those we see every day. And yet I think those relationships are valid and important for our growth and evolution. And with that, I will say, you matter, your life matters, you are loved, and you are worthy of love. And always remember to love your thrive and find your sunshine.